What's up, YouTube? It's your boy LSP, and I'm here to give you guys my locals report from last night at my locals, which is Super Games. And some of you new subscribers might not know what actually my local report actually entitles. It's a very, very in-depth discussion about what actually happened throughout the event, which took place last night at Super Games. This is a very, very high competitive locals. A lot of national winners go to that locals, such as Corey McDuffie, Patrick Hoven, Noah Green shows up from time to time. So it's really, really high competitive Yu-Gi-Oh at that event or at that locals. So I wanted to let you guys know how my Infernoid build did that night or last night. And I'm going to go ahead and give you guys an in-depth discussion about, each matchup and things like that. I'm going to breeze through the deck and everything that I ran. Of course, I will pick out certain key cards in the side deck that actually played a role. And there may be one or two cards that actually impacted the duel in my extra and main deck. So I will be pointing out a few cards, just not that many, because it's a lot to cover when I get down to my round-and-round coverage. So with that being said, I will be writing everything I say down in the description. So if you guys don't want to sit through the video, and some of my subscribers like to read, have a tendency to like to read more than they like to watch, which is perfectly fine. Just go down to the description and I'll have everything down there. So let's go ahead and get started and put these guys to the side. Come here. So for the main board, we actually play two Anukus. Of course, I play the Void Imagination build, which you guys might already know, which is the best way to play the build, in my opinion. Two Deviatis, three Odontal, three Seitsemas, three Pertulia, three Harmonics, two Answers. This actually might change. I might actually play one Sajet over Answer, but I just haven't gotten around to putting it in. But I'm definitely considering that. Of course, the last monster is triple Decatron. I want to keep my normal summons extremely low, so when I do make that sacrifice to play left arm offering for a reason and or monster gate, I know my mills are going to go actually really deep into the deck. So that's why I actually only run 3 normal summonable monsters, where everybody else plays Raiden and Charge and things like that. Of course, we have the 2 Void Imaginations. This card will be going to 3 once Monarchs is actually taken out of the game and Cosmos are toned down just a little bit. And I will be going over Cosmos later, so I'll have a little bit more to say about that in just a second. I do play 1 Void Vanishment. It's really good to search out any key Void cards by discarding any card. So I actually play more than just Void Imagination in this deck, so I actually do have a reason to actually play Void Vanishment. In hindsight, this could be your 3rd Void Imagination, looking back at it. So, just easy access to Void Imagination whenever you want it, or any other Void cards. Of course, we play the 1 Reasoning and 1 Monster Gate, as well as the 3 left on options to search out any of our spell cards or traps, but you primarily search out spell cards with left arm offering. I play the 1 for 1, the 1 Rekindling, the 1 Burial. Of course, we play the 1 Regeki and 2 Twin Twisters. Now that we're moving into a format where there's a lot of pendulum decks like Metafolds that are coming up and things like that, I actually wanted to prepare for Metafolds, which I did face. So I actually decided to play 2 Twin Twisters in the main. Moving to the traps, I play the 1 Void Purification, and as you guys may already know, this card's interaction with left arm offering is really good. And being able to be searched out by Void Vanishment is really key. So being able to play Void Vanishment, discard an Infernoid to search this card out, and then on your opponent's standby phase to add that Infernoid back to your hand is really good. So there we go with that. I still play 2 Drowning Mirror Forces. I'm not quite sure when this card will actually come out of my deck, but I know it's on the chopping block. But for right now, I do still like this card, but it's really on the chopping block, and I'm not really sure when it's gonna come out. Of course, if I need to make room for any more meta-defining cards to go on my main board, this would probably be on the chopping block for that. And of course, I play triple Spiritual Swords of Revealing Light. And I know this is a new card out of the out of one of the new sets. So let me go ahead and read this card to you guys. You guys might not know what it does. First off, this is a continuous trap card, and it says once per attack, when an opponent monster declares an attack, you can pay 1,000 life points to negate that attack. During your opponent's turn, you can banish this card from your graveyard to take no direct damage that turn that you banish this card from the graveyard. So this card is really good for when you have Decatron on board. Let's say he has the effect of Patrulia or Harmonic. You actually can protect your Decatron from being attacked and continuously blow up monsters or spell and trap cards on the board. Or let's just say you got this card in your graveyard due to you milling with Reasoning and Monster Gate. You know, so basically this lets you get another turn to draw any of your key cards. There has been at least 2 instances where I've actually had this in my graveyard and losing a duel, and I was able to, you know, banish it from the graveyard, and my next card was Reasoning, and I was able to win the game from there. So there's been at least 2 instances where that has came up, and it was really clutch. So that does it for the main board. I really do like that card. If you guys haven't tried it out, please try it out, guys. So let's move this main board out the way. Going to the let's go to the extra deck first. Going to extra deck, we still play the 2 Infernoid Tiaras. Of course, we need those for the imagination. We play the 1 Black Rose. I really rarely make this card, and I'm thinking about just cutting it all together. But hey, it's Black Rose. Of course, the Meteor Burst, the Scrap Archfiend. I really don't make that much. That's key actually for the OTK that you guys may already know about. Of course, we play the 1 Omega, the 1 Crimson Blade, and moving into my ranks, I play Utopia and Utopia Lightning just for the Cosmos. So once Cosmos get tuned up or they get hit on the ban list, whenever they decide to get hit, I can see these 2 cards coming out. Moving on to my rank 7s, I decided to play Big Eye. There were a lot of instances in playtesting where I needed Big Eye to take advantage of the duel. Of course, the Draco Sag, the Odd Eyes Absolute Dragon for the OTK. Number 23 actually helped me win a game against Cosmos. I play this, the Sun Dragon for Cosmos, but as soon as they get taken care of, this may come out. And I play 1 number 38. So there we go. Moving on to my side deck. I play 2 End of Anubis for BAs, or even the Metafoe Yangzim matchup. I play it for that. 2 cards I'm really liking right now is the Allied Justice Quarantine, and it's really good. It has 1700 attack, and its effect reads, neither player can special summon light monsters. So in a matchup against Blue Eyes, I'll go in there in just a second. It's really good, guys. Really good. I played my 3rd Void Imagination for when I'm absolutely playing against a deck that does everything from the extra deck. I play 2 System Downs for my Cosmo matchup, 2 Anti-Spell Frags for any Pendulums, 2 Master Restricts, and I do still side 2 Rival the Warlords. And typically when I side in Rival the Warlords, I'm either siding them in pairs with these 2 guys. So against Cosmos, I'm going 2 against Monarchs, I'm going 2 and 2, and probably, you know, anti-spell or 2 anti-spells, depending on how I feel against the matchup. And against anything like Metafolds, anything that's like Pay or, you know, Performing Pals, I go 2 Rivalries and 2 anti-spells. So I really do like that combination. And for my last 2 cards, for when I'm playing against a deck that doesn't utilize this extra deck, I side out my Void Imaginations and side in things like Feeding Comedian to help me get advantage to mill or just, you know, make their graveyard disappear. So there we go with that. Now moving on into the main discussion of the video. My first opponent was Metafolds Majespector, so you guys could have expected me to side 2 and 2. Let's see, 2 and 2, and of course the 3rd Void Imagination. And what actually happened in this matchup, I was confident that I was going to win this matchup from the start, although, you know, he did everything he was supposed to do game 1. I ended up winning the game. going with X1 against him. Game 1 I won due to me getting advantage from Void Imagination, or resolving Void Imagination. He didn't really know what Void Imagination did. He just knew I gained a lot of advantage, and I was able to outpace that deck simply off one Void Imagination, and that was just really, really good. Game 2, although I tried to resolve a Void Imagination while he had Kieran on board, seeing as the Raccoon was the one he Pendulum summoned, and I played Void Imagination, and I sent it to the grave, activated the send it to grave to cost to pay for the fusion, and he chained Kieran to bounce the Raccoon. So in hindsight, I could not fuse from the could not fuse from my main deck. I had to use cards that were in my hand, and of course I didn't have Deadly Yachty or Anuku in my hand to resolve the effect for the fusion. So this card ended up fizzling because of Kieran, which was a good play on his part. Very, very smart move. Moving on into game 3, I basically resolved on my first turn or second turn. I think it was my first turn. I resolved Void Imagination and a Reasoning, and sat behind Anti-Spell Fragrance with a Nuku and Draco Sack on board with tokens. And of course from there, it was just, he was on the time limit basically. He couldn't even make advantage after that. So I ended up winning that duel against Metafolds. And how I feel against Metafolds is, I like the deck. I really do like the deck, but I think it just has that one trick pony thing, and once you get over that, they're kind of done. So moving on to the next matchup, I played against Cosmos, which I sided in 2 of these and 2 of these, and I sided out my 2 main Void Imaginations, and I put in the 2 Fiend Comedians. But I was going against Blair Hunter, which you guys may already know from the card guys, and he plays Cosmos to the highest potential. Really, really good duelist. We ended up going into time, but one thing I found out about his deck in game 2, that he actually do use his extra deck in that build. So I actually ended up taking out 1 Fiend Comedian and putting in 1 Void Imagination, just in case I was a draw and he had extra deck monsters on board, because he ended up beating me game 2. I got him game 1 off a second turn Reasoning, and I just gained too much advantage over him at that point for him to even win. But game 2, he ended up pulling out Infinity, Leviair, doing all those crazy plays with the pilots and straw man combos and things like that. So after I seen that, I sided out 1 of these and put back in my Void Imagination, which I never drew in game 3. Game 3, we went into time. But before we went into time, I think I was gaining way, way more advantage. But of course, that deck grinds so hard. So I ended up pulling out the win against Blair Hunter with the card guys against this Fire King Cosmo deck. So there we go with that. Moving on into my third matchup, I played against, this is actually pretty funny, man. I played against, what's the name of that deck? Gravekeepers, where I really wasn't prepared to see Gravekeepers. Not Gravekeepers' demise anyway. So the only thing I could side in was this, which didn't help me really at all. So I ended up losing that game 2-0. Like, there's nothing to say. I'm not going to see it at the top tables for a really, really long time. Of course, this is local, so you're going to see the most obscene stuff. So I'm not really going to worry about that matchup. Just whatever. I know game 1, I got him down to 300 life points to my 9,000. And after that, he just walked me down from 300 life points. And that was sickening. So I shrugged off that loss, went on to the next matchup, which was Blue Eyes. Actually, this deck actually just has a really, really strong matchup against Blue Eyes. Of course, I sided in these cards. I think I might have sided in at least 1 Anti-Spell Fragrance. So, one thing about Blue Eyes versus Infernoids, I think it's a direct counter to whatever they want to do, because we get the banish cards out the graveyard. Banishing things like even the spell card, what's that? Return of the Dragon Lords is freaking huge against that deck. So you'll be able to clear their board with the Nuku, just like summon any other big Infernoid just to banish the dark, return, and then summon a Nuku behind it and just blow their board up. But game 1, let me tell you about game 1. Game 1, I was in control of that duel from beginning to end. I hit a Reasoning, and that thing went super, super deep. I was able to make, Omgea and Divide and just keep negating his effects and banishing his blue eyes, as well as putting cards back in the graveyard with Omgea and taking cards out of his hand. So he basically got Omgea Divide locked, and he couldn't come out of that in game 1. Game 2, I ended up winning again. He went first. He summoned Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon and then summoned what's the alternative dragon from the graveyard using Return of the Dragon Lords, and that's all he did. And I was just like, oh man, that play is really, really weak. I ended up opening with the 1 Quarantine. So what I actually ended up doing, I ended up summoning Quarantine just so I would lock out any plays that his what's that Spirit Dragon would actually try to obtain. Summoned Decatron, took the effect of Seitsemas, summoned another. I summoned Seitsemas first, and then I summoned Decatron and took effect of another Seitsemas. Ended up attacking his Spirit Dragon twice with both Seitsemas to banish both of the cards at the end of the battle phase. And from that point there, on his next turn, I just got rid of Decatron to banish the Dragon Lord spell card and Return of the Dragon Lords spell card in the graveyard. And from there, he just kind of just scooped. So I ended up going X1 throughout the whole tournament, and that was the whole tournament. It's only 4 rounds just to keep it in time perspective for everybody at the tournament, because those tournaments can go pretty long, and it could have went longer, but we only have 4-round tournaments now due to time consumption and things like that. So that has been my locals report, guys, starting off this new season. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys have any comments or concerns, please just post them down and we can just talk about it in the comment area. Leading off, please guys, try this card out in the Infernoids. This card is really, really clutch. It's been your boy LSP. Till next week, till when I have another locals report. Tune in then, guys. I'll see you later. Peace.